When a god goes to war, what does that actually look like? Not the statues, not the sermons, not the golden corpse enthroned in silence. I mean the man himself, a being who walked into battle and decided that reality would comply. The master of mankind did not often fight personally. That in itself is telling. He was a strategist, an architect of destiny. He built wars rather than waged them. And yet on those rare occasions when the Emperor of Mankind stepped onto the battlefield, history did not merely record the event, it buckled around it. The first problem, of course, is time. The Emperor's life stretches back into prehistory, long before the Imperium, before terror was terror, before mankind crawled out of superstition into starflight. He was already moving pieces. The ancient shamans who sacrificed themselves to create him did not forge a soldier, they forged a psychic singularity. Somewhere in those forgotten millennia he fought. We are told he opposed warlords, tyrants, psychers who drowned continents in nightmares. The details are myth. What matters is the pattern. Whenever humanity stood on the brink of annihilation, something golden intervened. And then there is the dragon. On medieval terror beneath what would one day be Mars, the Emperor faced a being later associated with the legend of St. George, though in truth it was almost certainly a Catan shard known as the Void Dragon. The jewel is half history, half allegory. In Mechanicum lore, the dragon is described as a god of living metal, a star eater brought low. Now imagine that confrontation, a Catan shard, an entity that fed on suns, coiled in terrestrial shadow, and the Emperor not yet crowned in gold facing it not with armies but alone. We are told he did not destroy it, but he did bound it, imprison it beneath the Noctis Labyrinthus of Mars. And that choice is fascinating. He could not, or would not, annihilate it outright. Instead he contained it, later allowing the Mechanicum to build up their faith unknowingly atop its prison. Already we see his method, not rage but control. Fast forward to the Unification Wars of Terror. Now the Emperor fights not myth but men, though men feels generous. The techno-barbarian warlords of old Earth wielded archaeotech horrors, gene-wrought monstrosities, psychic abominations. During the assault on the last bastions of terror, he led the Thunder Warriors personally. Accounts describe him as a golden figure at the spear tip of annihilation, bolts of psychic fire scouring battlements, blades flashing faster than thought. In some recollections, entire armies fell simply because he willed it, a gesture, a thought, reality corrected. But the Thunder Warriors themselves feared him. They were brutal, unstable creations, and they understood that even they were temporary tools. When the Unification Wars completed, he ordered their eradication at Mount Ararat. He did not relish battle, he concluded it. And then comes Ullanor. War of Ullanor was the Great Crusade at its zenith. The Orc Empire there was no minor infestation, it was a rising war of apocalyptic scale. At the head stood the Orc warlord Erlak Urg, vast, cunning, monstrously powerful. The Emperor did not need to fight him personally. Horus was there, the Primarchs were there, entire legions were there, and yet he did. Descriptions from the era are almost feverish. The Emperor descended like a comet into the greenskin horde, his flaming sword a weapon that does not merely cut flesh, but annihilates the soul, carving a path of incandescent ruin. When he faced the war boss, the duel was titanic. Erlak Urg said to be an enormous orc, even by the standards of them, a creature capable of crushing Astartes with his claws. For a moment, Horus himself feared his father might be overwhelmed. And then the Emperor struck. The blade pierced the war boss and psychic fire erupted outward. The orc's death scream became a shockwave that rippled across the battlefield, and with that the war broke. It is telling that after Ullanor, the Emperor named Horus War Master and withdrew from the Crusade, almost as if that duel marked the end of his role as a frontline combatant. But fate had other ideas, because there is one battle that eclipses all others, the Siege of Terror. For most of the heresy, the Emperor does not fight directly. He sits upon the golden throne, holding back the tide of the warp as Magnus's folly tears reality open. While his sons butcher each other across the galaxy, he is engaged in a psychic war against chaos itself. Now imagine the strain, holding back a breach in reality while demonic hosts hammer at the walls of very existence. That too is a battle. But eventually he rises. When Horus lowers the shields of the vengeful spirit, the Emperor teleports aboard with Sanguinius and Rogel Dawn. What follows is less a duel and more an apocalypse contained within a flagship. First, Sanguinius confronts Horus. The angel dies, broken and slain. And then the Emperor faces his fallen son. Horus is no longer merely a Primarch. He is the chosen of Chaos Undivided. The gods themselves pour into him. Reality fractures around his armour, time stutters, the vengeful spirit becomes a cathedral of madness. And the Emperor hesitates, and this is crucial. He does not open with annihilation. He attempts to reach Horus. In several accounts, including those culminating in the end and the death, he pleads in his own distant way. There is still a father somewhere in that golden giant. But Horus answers with contempt. The duel is cataclysmic, psychic blasts that could shatter titans, blows that crack reality. Horus wounds the Emperor grievously, armour shattered, flesh ruined. For a time it seems the War Master might actually win. And then something shifts. In older lore, a lone Imperial Guardsman, Alanius Pius, stands before Horus and is obliterated, demonstrating the depth of Horus's corruption. In newer interpretations, the perpetual Alanius person plays a more metaphysical role. Either way, the moment crystallizes the truth, that Horus is truly gone. And the Emperor understands. So he unleashes everything. The final strike is not merely physical, it's a psychic obliteration. He does not kill Horus's body, he erases him from existence, soul torn apart so completely that not even the Chaos Gods can reclaim him. It is perhaps the most absolute kill in the entire setting, and it costs him everything. His mortal form is broken, interred upon the Golden Throne, sustained in half-life for 10,000 years. So what do these battles tell us? Against the Void Dragon he binds, against the Techno-Barbarians he conquers, against the Orc Empire he demonstrates his supremacy, against Horus he destroys, but only when forced. Notice the pattern here. He escalates reluctantly. He acts personally only when the stakes are existential. He does not duel for pride, he duels for conclusion. There are other moments, psychic confrontations with demons during the Webway War, silent battles in the Immaterium, where his presence alone is described as anathema to chaos. In Master of Mankind, demons recoil at his radiance. One describes him as the carrion king, yet cannot approach his light without disintegration. Ever confined to the throne he fights, every day he holds back the warp from terror. Every day 1,000 psychers are sacrificed to maintain that vigil. It's not just a duel of blades, it's a duel of endurance. So was the Emperor the greatest warrior in human history? Undoubtedly. But that's almost besides the point. Because what defines his battle is not spectacle, though there's plenty of it, but finality. When he commits fully, the conflict are ended permanently. The dragon bound, the war boss slain, Horus erased. And yet, for all his victories, the galaxy still burns. He defeated Horus, but not chaos. He unified terror, but not humanity's soul. He bound a star god, but built a mechanicum that worships the machine anyway. And perhaps that is the final irony. The Emperor wins every duel that matters. But the war, that one never seems to end. So when a god goes to war, what does it look like? It looks like light so bright it scars the darkness forever. And yet somehow the darkness always comes back. Please like, subscribe and comment down below. Become a channel member for $1 and check out the video on screen to continue your journey. In the grim dark of the far future, there is only war.